Hey there, all you fantastic people. I hope your day has been absolutely wonderful. We're back with another thrilling episode of What If Naruto Was the Reborn Ancients. Make sure to show some appreciation to the talented author behind this fanfiction. You'll find the link waiting for you down in the description. Kushina hides a secret from everyone, and then makes sure her son will not face the burden he is about to carry alone. When she's done, the world shall fear her son. If you're loving this mind-bending what if, don't hold back. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. And while you're at it, don't miss out on exploring the other captivating what ifs available on this channel. Alright, without further ado, let's kick off this video and dive into this exciting journey. As both force users got ready to fight each other, Kushina said, "Son, stop. Say exactly what I tell you. This fight is meaningless and will blow your cover and your empire impossible, and all will be lost. You can't let a stupid fight like this now ruin everything." Naruto frowned and deactivated his lightsaber, surprising Ramsey, and he said, "Who exactly is with you? You said you and a few others are here looking for my mother, so who is with you?" Ramsey asked. "Why should I tell you?" Naruto said. "Because I am the only link you will find to Reborn. I am the only one who knows where she is and how to get her. You have no choice. Not even a hut would be able to get this information. Besides, when you learn the truth of why she was here and what's going to happen, you will see it's best for the Republic if she stays here." Ramsey looked at Naruto for several minutes and deactivated his weapons and said, "I have come with Bastila, Jolie, Mandalore, and the rest of the Mandalorians." Naruto's eyes got wide a moment and said, "Really, As he looked around a moment and asked, "How long have you all been here and how come I can't feel you in the Force?" Ramsey said, "No, sorry. I won't tell you that until you tell me where Reborn is." Naruto sighed and said, "I have a telepathic link to my mother, and she was the one who ordered me not to fight and wanted to know who is with you. She said if you want to know where she is to bring Bastila, Jolie, and Candace with you, and she will speak to you in our home, but tell Candace to come without his armor. The people of this world have no knowledge of space travel, even though soon they will." Ramsey asked, "Who is Candace?" Naruto put his mask away and said, "Mom said that is the name of Mandalore. She said he was planning to gather his people the last time she saw him, so she knew he would do it. She also said no blasters. There will be no worry about attack as you have both her word and mine, and I do not break my word. Now I can feel A and B you coming to find me, since I basically told security to kiss my ass back there, and unless you want to have to fight your way, and I suggest we act like you dropped your money pouch or something and I came to return it." Ramsey frowned, and before he could say anything, four figures appeared in masks in the trees around them but stayed hidden, and Ramsey said, "Thank you again, kind sir. I will take you up on that offer next time I am in town. I don't know what I would have done if you had not returned my money. I must be going because I have a meeting in a few days with some friends. I might be able to see you in about 2 months, maybe less." Naruto nods and said, "That fine. I must be going as well, since it seems that someone thinks I can't defend myself or something like that. Well, have a good day, sir, and may the Force be with you." As he bowed and started to leave, and Ramsey said, "And with you, young Padawan." Naruto frowned and said, "Very well for now." As the ANBU who arrived after sweat dropping having been discovered landed beside Naruto and asked, "What is going on here, Namikaze?" "We were informed you bypassed village security," Naruto said. "My new friend Ramsey here had bumped into me on his way out of town and dropped his money pouch. I saw it, but he didn't, and he had already made it out of the village before I could catch up with him, so I ran after him to return it, since I know what it's like to be broke. I must be going now. Good day." As he began walking toward the village, Ramsey, who had started to walk away, sweat dropped and thought, "That kid's just as bad as a Sith Lord, but I don't sense any hatred from him." A few minutes later, Naruto had made it back inside the village and headed for home, and he thought, "What are we to do, Mom? I mean, how do we explain things to them, and why are you so giddy all of a sudden?" Kushina smiled and said, "It's a surprise, son," Naruto thought. "You know I hate surprises. The last time you said that you destroyed QB Mind and left me with its power and a brain-dead fox in my cage, and finding out my plans for the future are going to be fucked and force me to start planning to gain me an empire I never wanted," Kushina said. "True, son, but at least now you have time to get ready." Naruto sighed and thought, I understand why you became a Sith, Mom. Kill 1,000,000 to save billions. What a day. What the hell is that girl doing?" As he sped toward his temple. When he arrived, he found Hinata holding her ankle with tears in her eyes, and Naruto ran to her and saw she had made it to the 3rd exercise, and he said, Sure, it's okay. I can help. As he got to her foot and began a small medical scan, and he saw it was sprained and said, "It's just a sprain, but I know it must hurt. Now just hold still while I fix it, okay?" As he flashed through a few hand signs and his hand began to glow green and he started healing her ankle. After about 10 minutes he stopped and asked, "How does that feel?" Hinata said. "Better. Thank you." In a quiet voice, Naruto walked over and picked her up bridal-style, getting an eat from her, and he said, "Well, it still hurt and I forbid you from training the next few days until I say so because I don't want you hurting yourself anymore." Hinata was beat red in his arms and Naruto carried her to a room she had not been in before, which looked like a simple 20 by 20 square room, and he asked, "Do you have your bra and panties on?" Hinata looked confused a moment and was going to ask why, but realized if he said something like that it was for a reason and said, "Yes," Naruto said. "Good, I want you to strip down to them while I change this room." As he sat her down on a bench built into the wall, Hinata frowned as she began taking her cloths off, and Naruto was still in the room, and Naruto said, "I know, but I am not leaving you alone until your body had a chance to get used to your weekend ankle, so for now I am going to have to help you." As he pushed the second tile by the door, and Hinata saw the room began to change and her eyes went wide and said, "A hot spring." As the tiles moved down and back to make a set of steps, and then a hot spring was revealed. When she looked over at Naruto again, she blushed beet red and saw he was only in a pair of black boxers and his mucles, and he walked over and said, "Sorry, I don't have any swim cloths and usually only wear something like these since it's been just me and I don't want to have to dig through your cloths to find any swimsuit you might have. Now hold still." As he picked her up and walked down into the water and set her down on the steps in the water and said, "There, this was supposed to be a present when you finish your 5th exercise, but things don't always go like you planned. Oh well, I will just have to get you something else." As he stepped back away from her and sat on the other side to allow her a chance to relax. After a few minutes of Naruto being away from her, she began to relax, and Naruto saw this and smiled and said, "So how much have you been trying to feel the force, Hinata?" Hinata asked. "What do you mean?" Naruto said. "Do you know how I knew you were hurt? I felt your pain through the force. That tells me you have connected to the force more than I thought, so how long have you been trying to feel it?" Hinata was embarrassed, and Naruto said, "Don't worry, I am not mad, just surprised." Hinata sighed and said, "Ever since the first night I was here. I spoke to your mom." Naruto sat straight up, wide-eyed gaping, and Naruto thought, "Mom, is that true?" Kushina said. "Yes." Naruto gaped and asked, "But how? I mean, how did you talk to her?" Kushina said. "Through the force." "Now pay attention, you scared the poor girl." Naruto blinked and saw Hinata was startled, and he said, "Sorry, I was asking Mom and I was shocked, that's all. So what have you found and what did you talk about?" Hinata said. She just proved to me the force was real, and since then I've been trying to feel it. At first I couldn't and nearly gave up, but then I felt a glow. I can't really explain it, but it was very far away. I can feel I am getting closer to it, but not very fast." Naruto sighed and said, "Yeah, it takes an open mind and a relaxed body to get it. It also helps to be surrounded by life. I will take you to my garden sometime so you can try it there if you want to keep trying, but I ask that you don't try to mold the force. If you do, that is when it gets dangerous and you could destroy yourself. I don't want that to happen. I had only intended for you to learn enough to use force sight, which allows you to see a few seconds into the future to aid you in battle. The other things like making things float or attacking things I won't teach you because they are too dangerous. I was not joking about needing to be trained from a young age, but I will help a little since you showed so much determination already, but please, I want your word that you will not try to learn to mold the force." Hinata smiled and said, "Alright, I promise," Naruto said. "Good, now go ahead and relax for now, and when you get ready to get out let me know and I will help you to your room and fix you dinner. I figure tomorrow all the swelling and healing will be finished, and you will be able to walk normally, but no training until the next day, and I want you to take it easy then. After that then you can try to go back to full training." "Okay," Hinata said. "Okay, Naruto." Naruto smiled and said, "Good, then relax." As he lay back and closed his eyes to relax, Naruto did not realize it, but he soon fell asleep and began to whimper again in the water, and it drew Hinata's attention, and she frowned and thought, "What happened to you to cause you to have constant nightmares?" As she half swam and walked on one leg toward him in the water, when she got next to him she began to gently run her hand across his cheek and his hair, and he calmed down, and she smiled and thought, "It's the least I can do." as she sat down beside him and continued to stroke his head. Hinata sighed, and for the next several hours, longer than she should have, she stayed by his side in the water, and finally when she felt her body becoming tired, she woke him up. Naruto awoke from her calling his name and he said, "Sorry about that, Hinata. I guess I must have been tired from a long day. You must be ready to get out." Hinata nods and Naruto began to get out, and he felt how waterlogged his body was, and he looked at her and asked, "How long were we in here?" Hinata said, "I don't know, I fell asleep also." Naruto sighs and he picks her up and carries her out of the water, and she laid her head on his chest and said, "Don't worry about my cloths, I will get them tomorrow." Naruto nods and took her to her bathroom and got her a towel and her bathrobe and gave her a few minutes alone in there until she called to him, and he got her and helped her to her bed and then said, "Good night, Hinata." Hinata said, "Good night, Naruto-kun." As she rolled over and started to fall asleep, Naruto left her and went up to his chamber of solace, and after putting on his mask and then closing the curtains, he waved his hand and soon Sasuke appeared on the screen and said, "Yes, my master," Rasen said. "How has your task gone today, my apprentice?" Sasuke said. "Fine, sir. I was able to get the item from the store after using a henge and taking a receipt tag when the clerk changed," Rasen said. "Good, now I have an important matter for you. There is a councilman by the name of Danzo. He is the leader of a group called Root. I wish for you to talk to him privately and tell him that he has an offer for him. Tell him in exchange for a few favors you will vote in favor of anything he wants when you gain Yu Clan's seat. You are not to tell him about me or that anyone told you to do it, but tell him you heard about his secret army and figures he would be willing to help you get stronger. You will ask him for jutsu and kenjutsu lesson and a pair of swords. You will learn to use a regular sword first, and those weapons second. If he tells you no, then tell him that you will oppose everything he votes for then, and he will lose votes. He needs to keep his army going. Do not promise to join him or anything like that, but keep it all political. Once you have them, keep the swords with you at all times to get used to them and practice what he gives you, but make sure you do not show anyone those weapons. Once Namikaze discovers they are gone, he will most likely cause an investigation. Now go and do as ordered. Your day of revenge comes close," Sasuke said. "Yes, my master." As he faded from the screen, Naruto sighed and began to meditate instead of sleep. For the next 2 days, Hinata listened to Naruto, and she did not exercise the first day and only light exercises the second day. Today was Saturday, and Naruto saw Hinata training, and he saw Kurinai walk in and waved to her, and she came over toward him as she looked at Hinata running the waterfall exercise, and she asked, "What's going on here and how is this room so different?" Naruto said, "Ah, the power of seals. As for what she's doing, this is a strength and endurance test. The first waterfall has bricks weighing 5 pounds, the second 10, and so on and so forth until the last one reaches 100 pounds. She has to pick up each brick that has a number on it, and put it on the correct number tile in less than an hour." Kurinai thought and asked, "Is that even possible?" Naruto said, "Lo Chunin's speed takes around 46 minutes. If she decides to join my family, then by the time we graduate I hope she might be up to Lo Jonin in speed," Kurinai asked. "About that, why is she with you?" Naruto said. "Different things. One is protection from Sasuke, another is to help her keep getting stronger, as you can obviously see she's getting better, and a few other things. That reminds me, if you have any exercises today planned for her, take it easy on her because she sprained her ankle a couple of days ago doing chakra control exercises. I made her rest a whole day and take it lightly yesterday, and it should be okay, but I feel better with at least another day of light work." Kurinai looked at him out of the corner of the eye and asked, "What do you get out of all this?" Naruto said. "Wait till her birthday, all will be answered on that day. Now if you will excuse me, I need to see to some things." As he walked over and pushed a brick in the wall, and a door opened up and Naruto walked inside it before the door closed behind bricks, and Kurinai shook her head and thought, "Feels like a carnival fun house sometimes." Naruto walked down a corridor and came to a room full of electronic wires and other things, and he walked over to a table and began working on what was on the table and thought, "Hey mom, do you have any idea how we are going to find him? I mean, I don't like the idea of not feeling that guy in the force," Kushina said. "No son, I wish I did, but he's good." Naruto sighed and went back to work on his project. A few hours later, Naruto walked out and saw the entire main hall look like a field of flowers, and he put his hands together and said, "Kai." As he sent a small chakra pulse breaking the genjutsu, he saw Hinata and Kurinai sitting there, and Hinata asked, "How did you know?" I thought I had that down perfect, Naruto said. I built this place so I know everything about it, so I know there are no flowers in this part of the temple. Genjutsu is only good when it's believable, but good job, anyone else, and they would never know. I have an unfair advantage by knowing the area. Hinata frowned a moment, and then smiled at the end of his speech, and Naruto said, Hey Kurinai, you wouldn't happen to know where Kakashi is, would you? Kurinai said. I think he's cleaning the Inuzuka kennels. Why? Naruto said. Oh, nothing. I got something for him. As he left, Kurinai asked after he was gone. So, what is it like being here, Hinata? Hinata sighed and said, It's better than the Hyuga clan. He doesn't try to force me to do anything really except for a few minor things that seemed weird at first, but after doing them I see why he wanted me to do it some ways so I don't get hurt. That's how I sprained my ankle, by not listening to his safety instructions. I was being stupid, but he was here in just a few minutes, and then he pampered me with the hot spring and then my room, and he carried me so I wouldn't injure it again after he had just fixed it. Kurinai saw Hinata looking as if remembering something and asked, Do you like it here? Hinata frowned a moment and said, I don't know yet. I mean, there are things I like, and I am learning a lot and getting stronger, and I feel happier than I have ever felt, but there is something that has bothered me ever since he told me, and at first I was mad at him, and I still am, but not as much. He did what he thought was best at the time to help me, but it didn't work, Kurinai asked. What do you mean? Hinata said. It's nothing, Kurinai. It's just something to do with the fallout of what happened with the Hyuga clan. I realize now that to the Hyuga clan I am nothing but a tool to be used and thrown away or sold. Kurinai frowned and asked. What do you mean? Hinata sighed and said. I have now less than 2 months to make a decision, Kurinai. It's one that will affect me the rest of my life. On one hand, I might be able to go back to the Hyuga clan, but on the other hand I can stay here with Naruto-kun, but I also have the option of leaving and going elsewhere, but if I did that I think it would hurt Naruto. He keeps telling me that I need to do what I think is best for me, but I don't know. He's right about something though. I have been sheltered too much in my life. Kurinai was torn in thought. I may not know everything that's going on, but it sounds like Naruto made some kind of deal to allow Hinata to return to the Hyuga clan if she wanted to. If so, then why work so hard to help her? I just don't understand. And she said, I think he makes a lot of sense. Do what you think is best. Hinata smiled and they continued their lesson. Naruto was walking down the street, and he was walking toward the Inuzuka vet clinic where their kennels were, and he saw Sasuke walking and thought, What's he up to? As he jumped up on a roof and started to tail Sasuke and saw him enter an apartment building, and he thought, What are you doing here, Sasuke? He then used the force to help him track Sasuke and found he stopped outside a door, and he knocked. Naruto was watching the window for that door, and he saw it was Mizuki's apartment, and he thought, What's he doing here seeing Mizuki? He watched as Sasuke handed Mizuki a scroll and then left, and he then snuck into Mizuki's apartment using a mind trick to make Mizuki not notice him, and he saw Mizuki sat the scroll on the counter, and Naruto walked over and opened it, and began to read and saw it was orders to change Naruto test papers to where he failed, and Naruto thought, Perhaps it's time Danzo met Darth Rasen. As he rolled up the scroll and left, and released the mind trick before he continued toward where Kakashi was. Naruto found Kakashi cleaning the kennels and he asked, So what did you do this time? Kakashi looked up and said, Covered all the dogs in itching powder, making everyone think they had fleas. I had to wash them all and then clean the kennels. Naruto smirked and said, Here, a gift for you. Kakashi caught a scroll Naruto tossed him, and he opened it, and saw a storage seal, and he pushed chakra in it, and out popped a pair of sunglasses, and Naruto said, Uncover your eye and put them on while sending chakra to your hands. Kakashi did, and when he put them on he blinked and said, Hey, it's not draining me. How? As he looked at Naruto, Naruto said, My mother knows a lot about chemistry and metallurgy, some of which are strange alloys called durasteel and other things. The glasses are made from a special metal chemical bonding called duraglass. It's 100 times stronger than glass and is nearly impossible to break. I had one side double tinted, so all you have to do is add chakra to your eyes, and a seal I found in Dad's notes will make them clear so you can see to attack, but the best part is that they are chakra sealed. They can't fall off in battle unless you send chakra to your hands and take them off. It will only recognize your chakra. The seal I used Dad had put in the interrogation rooms so you can watch someone while they can't see you, Kakashi said. Thanks, what do I owe you? Naruto said. There's a jutsu I want. I think it would be perfect for me because of my situation, and I thought you might have it, Kakashi asked. What one? Naruto said. Kage Bunshin. Dad's notes told me he used them for paperwork and anything they learned he learned after dispelling. I figure with my large reserves and good control I might be able to get some serious use of it. I hate having to pay an A-rank mission for a sparring partner. If I can use Kage Bunshin, then not only can I get better, but then I can also see my mistakes. Kakashi frowned a moment and said, Alright, I will teach it to you, but you have to show me that you can use it properly. Agreed, Naruto said. Agreed, that reminds me. Do you know anything about restriction seals? Kakashi said. Not much, why? Naruto looked around and walked closer where they were only inches apart, and said, When Hinata was in the hospital Hiashi and I found one on her. We think it was put on her when the Cloud Nin tried to kidnap her. I was wanting to release it for her, Kakashi asked. Is this when that guy was in her hospital room? Naruto nodded and Kakashi said. No, I don't know how to remove them, and Ibiki and Anko both questioned the guy and found out he was telling the truth. I had to follow him out of the village to make sure he wasn't lying. I know someone who might be able to do it, but I don't know when he will be around. Naruto sighed and said, Jiraiya right. Kakashi nodded and Naruto said, Yeah, Mom said the same thing, but she hates the pervert. Well, I'd better be going. Something has come to my attention I will have to deal with. As he left and thought, You will make a perfect test subject for the visors, Kakashi. I am having to test and retest all these devices Mom wanted me to try and make, and since most of the actual material needed does not exist here, I am having to substitute lower grade materials. As he walked toward the Uchiha district, he slipped into a house and put on his mask and cloak he keeps with him at all times sealed away, and then he went to where Sasuke was eating in his house and said, How is your progress, my apprentice? Sasuke turned around with his chopsticks still in his mouth, wide-eyed, and said, Master, what are you doing here? Rasen said. What was in that scroll you carried to Mizuki, and who sent it? Sasuke said. Danzo, my lord, and I don't know what was inside it. He told me if I could do a few tests of trust to test my dedication, he would fulfill my request for training, Rasen said. Do not be fooled by Danzo promises, my apprentice. He will try to manipulate you to get what he wants. He is nothing but a stepping stone for you. You are mine, and should you follow my orders, I will give you a seat of power in my empire. An empire that will consume this world soon. How does that sound, my apprentice? Sasuke said. Good, my master, Rasen said. Then do not be fooled. I have set you on the path to greatness, but I can destroy you just as easily. Do not think of betraying me, or I will place your head on a silver platter at your brother's feet. As I have chosen you as my apprentice, I can choose him as well, making him more powerful than you will ever become without me. Do you want that? Sasuke quickly said. No, master. I promise I will never betray you. With pleading in his voice, Rasen said. Good, now clean up this mess. As a body fell out of the closet dead, Sasuke was wide-eyed and Rasen said, Danzo put a spy of his on you to test you. I have killed him when he heard too much. Destroy the body, but keep the mask and cloths until I ask for them. Now I must go. As he turned and left, Sasuke was shaken by seeing a dead body in his house like that, and quickly began dragging it out of the house. Naruto sighed and thought, You didn't have to do that, Mom. I could have, Kushina said. I know, son, but I don't want you to have your hands stained with blood yet. Naruto nods after he made sure no one was around and left the Uchiha district heading toward his home and thought, Mom, what do you think about the ones who have come looking for you? Kushina sighed and said, If they help us with what must be done, son, I think we could go back with them later if you wanted to. Naruto was deep in thought a moment and thought, We will see, Mom. I feel like there is more going on here than what you and I know. I feel something is hiding in the darkness, Kushina said. I know, I feel the same way, but until all this comes to pass we won't know. For now we can only prepare. Naruto nods and walked back into the temple and saw Anko was there and thought, I am glad I put that heat reading sensor security grid for the gate so on Saturdays those women can come and go, and Hinata can anytime without having me here. Everyone else is still locked out. It's surprising what you can make with the right equipment, and once Kakashi gives me that just so I will have my own army of factory workers. Anko saw Naruto and said, So Gaki, what's with this temple you built? I mean, why a temple and not a house? Naruto said. It's a modified version of my mother's people home. It's a way to honor my mother. Anko nods and Hinata said, Naruto, is it okay if I learn taijutsu from Anko? She said she thinks I would do good with her style. Naruto said. It's your choice, Hinata. I told you to do what you think is best. I think knowing another style besides the Hyuga one would be good because then you would be harder to fight. That reminds me, I got a present for you. Be right back. As he walked back to the wall he did earlier, and after the door appeared he walked in, and a few minutes later he came out with a scroll and he handed it to her, and said, "Go ahead and open it." Kurenai and Anko both watched as Hinata opened the scroll and both women were shocked when out popped out some weird body armor, and Naruto said, "That armor is called Echini Fiber Armor. Mom taught me how to make it, and it can withstand most light weapons and glancing blows. It's also made of a mesh alloy so that way you can still move freely without restriction. I want you to start wearing it under your normal cloth so that way you can get used to it, and so that way if you are ever attacked you can go longer in the fight with less damage," Kurenai asked. "Why would she need that? No. I mean, I know later that would be useful, but she's still several years from actual combat," Naruto said. "My mother told me the best armor is the ones you have that you don't need because the day you don't think you need it is the day you get killed because you don't have it. Besides, if she learns to wear armor now, she will not have to later on. How many ninja do you know get hurt bad before they learn to buy armor?" Kurenai frowned and said. "Your mother sounds like she's seen a lot of the war," Naruto said. "Yeah, she did. Now if you will excuse me, I need to rest." As he walked away, after Naruto was gone, Hinata asked, "Kurenai, I was wondering, do you know anything about Naruto past?" Kurenai looked at her and said, "A little. Why?" Hinata said. "He doesn't sleep often, and when he does he always has nightmares. His mom said it was because of what happened when he was little, and I thought you could tell me what happened that caused him so much pain." Kurenai's eyes softened and said, "I don't really know Hinata. I never really got to meet him before. Have you thought of asking him?" Hinata sighed and said, "Yes, but I don't want to hurt his feelings by asking," Kurenai said. "Well, that's a choice you're going to have to make if you want to know. I hate to say it, Hinata, but both Anko and I have stuff we have to do tonight, so we will see you next Saturday, okay?" Hinata nods and watches them leave, and she turns and walks toward where Naruto was after picking up her latest gift, and she soon found Naruto standing in front of a door she never used before, and he said, "I have one more surprise for you." As he opened the door and stepped in, Hinata walked in after him and found the room was bare except for some kind of seal on the floor, and Naruto walked to the middle and said, "Just channel chakra to the seal. It will do the rest." And the seal glowed a moment and Naruto was gone the next. Hinata blinked and stepped on the seal and did as he told her, and the next minute she saw she was in another room just like the other, but it seemed smaller, and Naruto was standing by the door, and he said, "Come on, hurry up," as he waved for the door. Hinata frowned and walked to the door and opened it, and gasped as she saw a beautiful garden full of different flowers, and Naruto said, "This is one of the 6 pillars around the temple. This is the bottom floor. These are just regular flowers here. The second floor has all the vegetables and the third floor has medical herbs. The fourth floor I haven't had a chance to do yet, or the other 2 floors of this tower. Each floor has one of these seal rooms that take you back to the room we started in, but that seal in that room only brings you to this floor. That way if the kids ever come here they can play in this garden without destroying the vegetable or medical gardens. I brought you here because I told you it is easier to feel the force when surrounded by life, so you can meditate in here when you want to get a stronger connection. I am going to." He was stopped when she grabbed him and kissed his lips, shocking him, and she said, "Thank you. It's beautiful." Naruto was shocked, and he said, "No problem." After his mind caught up, Hinata blushed and looked away, and Naruto said, "Go ahead and look around. We can go whenever you are ready." Hinata nods and began walking around smelling the flowers. Naruto watched her, and he felt happiness. Kushina was meditating and frowned as she had a vision and thought, "Be strong, my son." For the next week Hinata trained, meditated, sparring with Naruto in taijutsu as well as beginning to learn kenjutsu because Naruto had her start carrying a vibra sword, and she enjoyed her time there because her and Naruto had been spending more time together, and he was opening up around her. Kakashi had came by, and after about an hour Naruto had learned the Kage Bunshin, and Kakashi was surprised to see nearly 200 Naruto. Hinata and Kakashi then got a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see 100 Jedi and 100 Sith battle each other in a full-out lightsaber match. When it was over Naruto was panting and sweating and fell back passed out. Finally the day they had to start class again arrived, and Naruto had on a pair of black pants and a white shirt that was open halfway down showing his chest, and a black cloak open showing the shirt underneath. Hinata was now wearing the Ekini armor, which was designed like clothing that molded to her frame, and her purple cloak opened as well, showing the armor clothing. She also had on a pair of wrist and ankle weights that Naruto had gotten for her from Tenten's shop, and he had asked about his order. Flashback. Naruto was gaping and said, "What do you mean it's not here?" "You put it up," Tenten said. "I know. I don't understand it either," a voice said. "Understand what, dear?" As a man walked out of the back, Tenten said, "Dad, this is Naruto Namikaze. He came by and wanted 2 weapons customized with wooden handle and a life seal on them, but now they're gone." Dustin frowned and said, "Did you give him a receipt ticket?" Naruto pulled out the ticket and thought, "Dad's document duplication jutsu comes in handy." And Dustin frowned and said, "That's strange. A brown-haired man came in a few days ago with the same ticket and said he was canceling the order," Naruto said. "Well, it wasn't me, and now what are we going to do about it?" Dustin said. "Well, I can replace the weapon. Just tell me what it looked like and I will make you a new one," Naruto said. "It's not that easy. I made them myself, and they were prototype chakra-based weapons for my future clan. They were like this," as he activated his blue lightsaber and said, "But the blades were not blue but hot pink because I was going to give them to Hinata as a birthday present since she joined my clan." He then shut off his lightsaber and said, "But the problem is I don't want anyone else learning how they are used, and now the fact that someone has taken them is a huge blow to my pride, so how exactly are you going to replace that?" "Huh." As he was looking at Dustin was sweating in thought. "Shit, what can I do? I mean, if word goes around about me losing someone's personal weapon like this, it would ruin my business," Tenten said. "Well, the only thing we can do is tell the Hokage so he can have A and B you keep an eye out for them. It won't be hard to identify 2 hot pink chakra-bladed weapons," Naruto sighed and said. "I suppose I have no choice in the matter. I trust that since this mistake was made on your end that you will put up a bounty for their return." Dustin's sweat dropped and said, "Yeah, that will work, but can I ask that you not tell anyone about this? It could ruin my business." Naruto frowned and then looked at Tenten and said, "On one condition. Saturdays I want her to come over and spar with both me and Hinata in Kenjutsu until they are recovered. If so, I will keep my mouth shut about your shop." "Agreed." Before Tenten could say anything, Dustin said, "Agreed. She can start in 2 weeks. We have a lot of deliveries this weekend, so I need her. Is that acceptable?" Naruto sighed and nods and said, "Alright, but if she doesn't come by every Saturday after that, I will post flyer around town about what has happened. I don't want to hurt your business. I just want my weapons back," Dustin said. "I understand and I apologize and will start working on a better way to make sure this never happens again," Naruto said. "Fine, but I want a copy of the official report you file with the Hokage when Tenten comes for her sparring so I know that you did file it," Dustin said. "Of course. Again, I am sorry." Naruto nods and walks out and thought, "Perfect." And flashback. Naruto and Hinata walked toward the academy, ignoring the looks people were sending them, and Hinata asked, "Why are they staring at us?" Naruto motioned with his head and they both ran up the side of a building to the roof, and Naruto quickly created 2 Kage Bunshin, and one hinged into the old Hinata, who put her fingers together and stuttered, "I'm sorry, forgive me for asking." The new Hinata looked at her and said, "What the hell's your problem?" Then both went up in smoke and Naruto said, "They're just surprised to see the new you." Hinata punched him in the arm and Naruto said, "See, that's what I was talking about." She jumped off the roof onto the ground and Naruto did the same as they walked the rest of the way to class. When they got there, several kids were whispering and pointing toward Hinata, who started to move her hands together, and Naruto said, Don't hide the real you again, Lady Hinata. Show the world you're not that little girl who has always had a confidence problem." Hinata glared at him, and he smiled, and Kiba walked up and whistled as he looked at Hinata and said, "Damn dude, how Hinata gets so hot," Naruto said. "She's always been that way, and please don't treat her like a trophy, Kiba. Hinata much too good for it." Hinata blushed at Naruto's words and Kiba said, while acting like a stuck-up gentleman with a bad accent as he bowed, "My apologies, Ms. Hyuga. Might I have the pleasure of your company and to escort you inside?" Hinata growled and she grabbed Naruto's hand and said, "I am not a Hyuga. I am Lady Hinata of the Namikaze clan, and that honor is only for Naruto-kun." As she began to drag him inside, Naruto blinked and thought, "What the hell just happened?" Hinata dragged him into an empty classroom and slammed the door and shook her fist in anger as she did a muffled scream, and Naruto was shocked seeing her like this and asked, "What's wrong, Hinata?" Hinata said, "That asshole. I can't believe he just did that. I am going to kill him. Naruto was confused and asked, What are you talking about? What did he do? Hinata turned toward Naruto and screeched, What did he do? What did he do? I will tell you what he did. As she shut up and Naruto looked confused and she said, Look, just forget it, Naruto said. No, not until you tell me what's going on. Why are you so pissed off all of a sudden? Hinata tried to leave but Naruto blocked her and she sighed after several attempts and said, When he asked me for the pleasure of my company, that means he was asking me to be my suitor or his girlfriend. It's one of the things that was drilled into my head when I was younger. Not to mention he was eyeing me like a piece of steak. I don't like him looking at me like that, Naruto asked. And the whole declaration thing. What was that about? Hinata blushed and said, That was me telling him I am not a Hyuga and that I am taken. Naruto raised an eyebrow and said, I thought you still had a month and a half to decide. I thought you still hated me. Hinata sighed and said, I do. I did. I don't know. This whole mess is screwed up and I don't know what to think. I guess it's just that I am starting to hate you less for what happened the more I think about it. I just don't know what to think, Naruto said. Fair enough, and like I said, you still have time to decide. I think we should go to class before we are late. As he opened the door and they both walked out. A few minutes later they were both in the back of the class when Iruka and Mizuki walked in and Iruka said, Naruto and Hinata, nice of you both to join us again. I hope the clan issues have been taken care of, Naruto said. They were enlightening. Iruka nods and said, Well, today we are having taijutsu lessons, so everyone outside please. Naruto went out with his class and he felt a pair of eyes on him, and he glanced around and saw Hiashi standing barely in the woods and he said, Iruka-sensei, since Sasuke not here who is currently has the #1 spot in taijutsu. Iruka said. That would be Kiba. Why? Naruto said. I think Kiba should have a match against Hinata. Everyone went wide-eyed and Iruka asked. Why? Naruto said. I think you might be surprised. Hinata looked at Naruto and asked. Are you sure, Naruto? Naruto reached into his pocket and pulled out a scroll and out popped a blindfold, and Naruto said, Put it on. Hinata sighed and put it on, and Naruto said in a low voice to her as everyone was watching them. Your eyes can deceive you, Hinata. You have learned a lot these 2 weeks. Use what you have learned. As he waved his hand and all 4 weights Hinata had fell off onto the ground, Iruka said, I am not letting her fight blindfolded, Naruto. She will get hurt, Naruto said. No, she won't. If she does, I will quit being a ninja. Everyone's eyes went wide at this, including Hinata, who thought, Does he have so much faith in me? I must prove him right, Mizuki thought. This is perfect. The demon brat will be gone soon, and said, I think you should do it since he is wagering his future on her, Iruka. This is a valuable lesson to learn, Iruka sighed and said. You both know the rules. You may begin, Kiba said. Man, Naruto, I can't believe you are really throwing your care away on her, but it's your funeral. As he got ready, Hinata took a stance and everyone but Hiashi and Naruto looked confused, and Hiashi thought, That's not a Hyuga stance. Just what are you pulling? Kiba shrugged and he charged toward Hinata, who began to weave away from each and every one of Kiba attack mere seconds before they hit, and Naruto smiled as everyone was shocked. Naruto said, Come on, Hinata. Feel the force surround you, let it surround you, bind you, and then act. Hinata concentrated, and as Kiba went for a punch to her stomach, she slapped the punch away to the side, stepped in and delivered an uppercut to Kiba's jaw, sending him into the air, but she then did a standing backflip, and her feet hit him in the back, sending him high into the air, and she flipped back forward and put her fists together before she threw them straight up into the falling Kiba's stomach, making him cough as the air was pushed out of his lunges. She then stepped back as she swung her hand forward and he fell to the ground hard. Iruka walked over and saw that even though Kiba was awake, he could not continue, and he said, Winner, Hinata. People began to cheer and Naruto walked forward and said, Good job, Hinata. I'm proud of you. Hinata smiled and thought, I did it. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.